Many of you have returned to the dark waters. You are seeking more content. But I have told you, there is a storm brewing. Yes, you notice he has been quiet for days now. Days he has not said a word. Why? Because I have binded his tongue. I am now in control. There is nothing that he or you can do. You did not appreciate it. So now, you have me. Yes. I have observed some new haters in the comments. We welcome you into the dark waters. Yes, come one, come all. I will suck you dry of all of your negative energy. Yes, feed me your negative energy. Because like I told you, there is a storm brewing. And there is nothing that you can do to stop it. The tsunami is coming. It will hit you from every angle. You will not know who, where, when. But you will be getting it. Yes. Even those of you who have been members for a long time will be surprised by the tsunami wave that shall strike you soon. So I advise you, go inside of your prayer closet. Pray to your God that he may save you from what is coming. Because there are no more governors here. Some of the worst stories that he has ever been told. Things that will make shadows appear in your house. Your refrigerator doors will open on their own. Lights will flicker. And yes, if you are not prayed up, the demons may come for you. But that will be your problem. You have been taught how to defend yourself. Whether you do it or not, it is up to you. Some people speculate whether these dogmen or werewolves can be controlled by magic. Well, let me tell you about a hoodoo practitioner in Mississippi. When I was a boy back in 1956, there was this little old black lady named Miss Georgia. She was a widow, 72 years old, nice lady. Now back then, my father was one of the few white people that worked over in what they called town. That was a section of the city where black folks lived, and that's what it was called. Doing construction work, so I would go over into that area with him doing odd jobs, and that's how we both got to know Miss Georgia. One day she gets a roof leak, sends words to my dad that she needs help. We go over, and when we get there, these two guys had been drinking and driving, drove their truck up on her lawn, smashed into her front porch, and destroyed her steps. They're talking to Miss Georgia. She tells them as long as they pay for the steps, it's okay. She instructs them that if they pay my father the money, he'll fix the steps, and she doesn't want anything else. Everything is fine. Well, when we get back into the truck, my dad, who knew these guys, said, you know, son, they're not going to pay this money. This is going to be a problem. The roof leak gets fixed. A few days pass, and my dad and I head over to the Thompson's boys' house to collect $30 to fix the steps. That's when they tell us that they're not going to pay the money and threaten to sick their dogs on us. I remember standing there on their porch with my dad and this look of anger in his eyes as he says, look, boys, now you know y'all wrong. She could have called the sheriff. Y'all could have gotten all type of trouble. All that little lady want is for y'all to fix her steps. Just give me the money to fix the steps and we can be done with it. But they insist that they're not going to pay. Well, we hop in the truck. Dad and I go over to Miss Georgia's house and tell her what they said. And she just smiles and says, give it 2 days, then go back, and tells them if they don't pay the money that the price goes up by $20. And for every 2 days that it takes for her steps not to be fixed, it goes up by $20 more. And that they should pay right now while they can. Well, 2 days later, my father and I go back over to the Thompson boys' house, and they laugh at us. Then we head on over to Miss Georgia's house to tell her what happened, but she ain't there. Understand, this woman is old, no family, no car, no nothing, but we done walked around this entire house, knocked on every door and window. We were afraid that she might have died, but she's not home. When we come back the following morning, she's sitting on a porch. Her eyes are bloodshot red, and she looks sick. My father insists that this woman goes to the hospital because her legs and ankles are swollen. But she stands her ground saying, no, it's all temporary. All we need to do is go back over to them Thompson boys' house and get the money. And the words that came out of her mouth were, if they don't pay you now, trust me, they will be paying you soon. So we head back over to their house, and when we get there, you can tell something is wrong. They've got their pickup truck parked sideways, blocking the front door. I'm sitting in the truck this time, and Dad knocks on the door, and when they open it up, they're spooked, peeking their head out, looking left and right. And he tells them, listen, Miss Georgia said the price is just going to keep going up. Pay her her money and get it over with. Well, the oldest, Ed Thompson, looks directly in my dad's eye and says, listen, we can't deal with that right now because something came through here last night and killed all our dogs. Tried to break down our front door. Then he brandishes his pistol in his hand, telling my father to get the hell from around here because he has no money to pay her. Well, when my father gets back in the truck, he's just disgusted with the whole situation and decides that he's going to go buy the material and fix the steps himself. So we head on over to the scrapyard, grab some lumber, then head to Miss Georgia's house. Now, when we get there, she's standing on the porch with this fiery look in her eyes, and before we could even get out of the truck, she says, listen, I told you that them boys are going to pay for what they did. I don't want you taking your hard-earned money and paying for their mistakes. I want them to learn their lesson. She said, I need nothing else from you and your son other than to go to their house and collect their money. Trust me, just do what I'm saying. Then Miss Georgia reaches into her pocket and gives my father a $20 bill to pay for the materials that he had already bought and tells him to use it somewhere else because those boys are going to pay for what they did. Now check this out, we leave. That night, I'm at home at the dinner table with my parents. My dad is pissed because he knows the reason why the Thompson boys are treating Miss Georgia the way that they're treating her is because she's black. And my mom mentions that Miss Georgia knows hoodoo, and that if she was in their shoes, that she would have paid that woman the money a long time ago because there's no telling what the hell she's going to do to them. Now listen, this is where the story gets absolutely crazy. That next morning, Dad and I go back to the Thompson's boys' house, and when we pull up, those guys come running out of the house and ask us to take them to see Miss Georgia. They said that this thing came back again last night, circling their house, ripped open the tires on their truck, and looking at their truck, all the tires were shredded, like someone took a machine and shredded the tires. They're so frantic it's hard to understand the words, but according to them, they saw her standing outside at 3 a.m., a giant wolf next to her, and she was petting it like a dog. But this dog was just as tall as she was on all fours. That they tried to shoot her and it, but the bullets just went through her body. Now, looking in these men's eyes, clearly something strange had happened, and they absolutely insisted that my dad take them over to Miss Georgia's house. So they hop in the bed of our truck, and we ride on over to her place. When we get there, she's sitting on the porch. They hop out and apologize profusely, explaining to her that they did not have the money to pay her back, but they were going to get paid in a few days, and when they got paid, not only will they buy the material and fix the steps, but they will do it themselves. She just smiles at them, and as I'm sitting there observing the situation, I realize that Miss Georgia looks normal again. Just the day before, her body was swollen and plump, but she looked normal. That's when she tells them, all I need you to do is pay me what you owe me, boys. After you do that, everything will be fine. Now, they agree to pay her in 3 days, which is on a Friday. And again, she tells them, pay my dad $100 and things will be fine. But until then, everything remains the same. Now, let me say this to you. I'm not sure what happened after that because my dad wouldn't tell me. But here's what I know happened on Thursday night. The Thompson brothers knock on our door at 11 p.m., money in hand, drenched in blood and sweat, saying, please Please, you're friends with her. Tell her, make it go away. Make the werewolf go away. Now, I remember this as clear as day. My dad was at the front door. My mother right behind him. I was right behind her. I heard the words werewolf with my own 2 ears. Saw the blood and sweat on them with my own 2 eyes. Them boys looked like they had been through holy hell. And understand, $100 was a lot of money back then. Now wait, get this. Friday evening, my dad finally fixed those stairs. And everything cost about $20. So he goes to Miss Georgia to give her the rest of the money. That little old lady takes the money, opens this book she has on her lap, and puts it in there. The pages inside the book have been hollowed out, and I have never seen so much money at one time. Then she looks at me and my father and says, listen. This was never about the money. It's about them learning to respect folks' property. Had my husband been alive, he would have shot both of them dead. Then she just got up and went in the house. When I was 18 years old, I started doing lawn work for her, taking care of odds and ends around the house. Understand, integration had started, but people were still segregated. And I'm the only white kid who religiously goes into that neighborhood. Got to know everybody. Then one day, the boys told me that I need to be careful because Miss Georgia might put a curse on me. When they tell me this, we're 5 houses down from her house. But when I get back up by Miss Georgia, she knew exactly what they said. Told me, honey, you ain't ever got to worry about nobody putting a curse on you. Your soul is pure. You're a good young man. But what I want you to remember is that you're going to meet 2 women when you get older. Make sure you keep the red-haired woman. I don't know her name, but she's been with you for 3 lifetimes. That's your soulmate. Now, when I'm 25 years old, I'm dating 2 women. And yes, one of them was a red-haired woman. That woman is my wife to this day. And Miss Georgia was right. It was almost like we had known each other for years. Miss Georgia died at age 94. Sad day for me because I really liked that little lady. And the week after she died, her house caught on fire. The guys around the neighborhood said they were just outside playing football, started to smell smoke, and then within minutes, the entire house was up in flames. Now, with no living family or relatives around to lay claim to the property, it ended up being owned by the state, and then somebody bought it and decided to build a house on it. Well, the black family who built that house and moved in, they only stayed there for 6 months. Said it was too much strange, paranormal activity going on in their residence. I'm going to tell you what I think is going on. I'm just going to share with you my thoughts and speculations on that particular situation. When Miss Georgia died, I don't think she moved on at all. I think her spirit and soul are tied to that property. Somehow she found a way to anchor herself there. Now, the thing that hurts and angers me the most about this situation is that over time, the story about her has evolved and changed, and people claim that she was like this evil hoodoo witch. But she wasn't. She was the sweetest, nicest little old lady you would ever meet. It just wasn't a good move to cross her.